Good morning. My name is Catherine Stevens. I'm the instructor at Snow Hill Farm in Alton, Virginia. Snow Hill Farm is a small owner-operated boarding and lesson facility. This lesson is being taped for my American Riding Instructors Association recertification application. This morning, in the interest of full disclosure, I have 3 borrowed riders. Elizabeth Hayes on Star, Joe Halibus on Neon, and Ada Catherine Hayes on Beamer. I also have one of my own students, Kara Hudson, on Summer. My other advanced students have left for college, thus the borrowed students, and I'm greatly appreciative to you guys for coming up to do the lesson today. We're going to start with a discussion or an overview of the conditions today. It's about 75 degrees today, but the high today is going to be in the 90s. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It's a little after 10 now. It's pretty humid out here. We have had some rainfall in the last 24 hours, so the footing is pretty good in here. But given the humidity and the high temps today, we're going to watch how much work we do and be careful that we don't heat stress anybody. I'm going to do a quick safety check before we get started. Okay. You could afford to tighten your girth 1 hole. You don't have to do it now. You can do it after you warm up a bit. Okay, when we have our noseband on correctly, we want to be able to put 1 or 2 fingers under it. So I'm going to tighten it just a tiny bit, otherwise well done. And with the throat latch, you want to be able to put 3 or 4 fingers under it. So I'm going to let it out just a little bit. He's also heavy in the throat latch, so we want to make sure he's got plenty of room to expand his windpipe. Okay, and get everything in its keeps. Okay. Let me tighten you up 1 hole. Okay, everybody. We're going to start with the flat work and warm-up phase of the lesson. This phase of the lesson will not be included in the filming in the interest of time for the viewers. We'll return to you when we begin the jumping phase of the lesson. And bless your heart, you're doing exactly what I do, that I have to try really hard not to do, because it's almost anatomically impossible, but it is possible and you have to work really hard. It's very tempting to use your heel.
I know.
Okay, so I ride all the time. When I ride a horse that is a less responsive horse to my leg, I end up picking my heel up to get that good gouge in. Don't do it. Really work harder on making your horse more sensitive. And the way that you do that, when you have a horse that is not as responsive as you might like, is that you use a graduated response with the right part of your leg. So, good leg, Elizabeth. So you're going to say bump, bump with your calf, not picking your heel up. You can use your heel as long as you don't pick it up, okay? Because when you do that, you're putting your body off proper position by pulling your leg behind you. You actually move your seat bones when you do that.
Bump, bump.
Bump, bump with your calf. In other words, you can squeeze a horse, but there's a point where squeezing him like a tube of toothpaste, he's going to be like, yeah, what else? Okay? He's not going to necessarily respond as well to that as he will to maybe touch twice with your calf. You know, come in, couple of times. There you go. And when you get a response, quit asking. That's the reward for the horse.
That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, he perked up, and because if you squeeze your horse, now there are times when I'll say, squeeze your horse at the base of the jump. And that may not be the best time to bump, because you're trying to keep him in the next 2 seconds in a certain position, a certain balance, and with forward motion. But when you're asking your horse to respond, less is more and repetitive motion. Bump, instead of squeeze. Okay? So graduated request. Bump. Oh, you didn't hear me. Bump. There you go. Oh, well, maybe you heard me. But if you're having to take your legs up like wings and whack on your horse to get a response, move to a crop or a dressage whip, which, even hunters can benefit from using dressage whip because it gives you a longer reach without having to move so much of your hand and leg and arm and body and all that. So a dressage whip is a way to say, oh, excuse me, you didn't hear me, let me say it. A whip is an artificial aid. Ada, what are our natural aids?
Our natural aids, leg, hip, and cord,
Yes.
and hand.
Yes, very good. And really, sometimes we shortcut and we say anything between our diaphragm and our knees is our seat. But you really broke it down into the specifics, so that's good. Seat bones, core, hips, weight, and how you use it, and your legs. So a whip and spurs are artificial aids that are not intended ever to be punishment tools unless your horse kicks a hound in the hunt field. Then whatever you have on hand, you may punish your horse with. Otherwise, do not punish your horse with a stick because you're using the wrong tool.
There's a cat in that bush, so it's not to set it.
Oh, a cat in the bush. Okay, that'll be surprising. Okay, so the whip is an extension of our leg. If you use it to get angry with your horse or to punish your horse, he's going to be really confused about what the whip means. So save that punishment for the really bad thing that you have to do if he kicks a hound or another horse in the hunt field. Otherwise, use your whip as a tool to increase your horse's responsiveness. Elbows back. Good. And I want to see everybody half halt and then resume. Okay, Star did a really nice little half halt. What's the purpose of a half halt? Yeah, that's one way of describing it. The real purpose of a half halt is to rebalance your horse, because usually if he needs to be rated, it's because he's off balance or he's on his forehand. Rarely ever do you have to rate a horse that is on his rear and pushing from the rear and well balanced, because that horse's energy is not going to feel to you like it needs to be brought under control. It's going to feel like it's in the right place. And everybody throw in some 20-meter circles and some serpentines. And Kara, remember, elbows at your side. Good. And sitting trot. And Ada, close your hands and think about holding a Coca-Cola in each hand. Because when we start to get piano hands, it's a slippery slope and we end up with really bad hands. Think about not spilling your Coca-Colas down his shoulders. Okay, and when you guys are on a circle, Joe, right there, I saw something that we can work on. Your outside hand went forward a little bit. You don't lose the connection in the outside rein. Your outside rein is really critical for helping your horse stay in balance. And even horses like Totilas are not going to stay in balance. Maybe he could 99% of the time. But he's not going to stay in balance if the rider is not supporting him through that outside rein. They expect they need it. Why do they need it? Because when we're on a circle or a bend, your horse's inside leg is the weight-bearing leg. That's the pivot leg. That's where he's pushing off from. That's where he's maintaining balance from. So where does the energy go? It goes right up through the opposite shoulder. And if you're not helping support him through that opposite shoulder, your horse can do all sorts of wacky things with his body to try to maintain his own balance. And one of them is to pop that shoulder out, and then he's not straight and he's not balanced. And Joe, you can relax just a little bit in your lower leg because your heel down is beautiful, but when you do a really intense push into that heel, you lose some of the bend in your knee and some of the bend in your hip. So try to think about all three angles, your hip angle, your knee angle, and your ankle angle, being more or less the same and not one more than the other, okay? You don't want that really acute, like right there is a very good position, very nice bend, very nice angle. What happens when you push down too hard, number one, hitting a leg that's dependent on your stirrup, because if you're pushing down that hard, if I took your stirrup away, you'd be, yeah. So think about not doing that because you have a good educated leg. You have it in the right place. Don't focus on that, or if it's happening because it's habit, then focus on softening it a little bit. Okay? Good? Oh, sure. Remember your outside rein. Inside leg to outside rein is really critical for helping your horse balance. Okay, very nice, very pretty. Don't push the heels down too hard. Absorb the motion through your other angles too. Nice. And Joe, walk. Good, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, he's really balanced, but then he threw his hindquarters out just a tiny bit. Okay, right there is where he needs a pop with the crop. Or a dressage whip. Okay, and bigger canter. Yeah, that's okay. And when you come down from canter, keep moving so that they don't end up, I doubt anybody's going to cramp up in here, but you always want to keep your horse moving until you are ready to get off. So Joe, move to the rail just a little bit. Good. And Elizabeth, push him, leg yield him to the rail. Good. Okay, and walk. Oh, go ahead, sorry. Okay, Your inside rein is good. Your outside rein, you're not giving him the support that he needs. So outside rein is something that really is critically important, and it takes a long time to really get a good feel for what you're doing, because it seems counterintuitive. It seems like if I'm using so much outside rein, I'm going to counterbend my horse. But you keep him from counterbending with the inside rein, and more than that with the inside leg, okay? But if you don't have connection, and you really should be able to check in with him and get a little bit of response. If you don't have that connection, if your hand is up here and it's not really doing anything, he doesn't have anywhere to go with that energy, okay? All right, why don't you walk and rest for a minute? Okay, and you guys can let them walk on a long rein. And Ada, I want you and Kara to canter. So whenever you're ready, you can pick up contact. Okay, stop right there. So there's some things we want to work on before you go any further. So go ahead and walk, Ada. Sit back and deep, and let your, when you want your horse to walk, sitting back and deep and exhaling, you won't even eventually need your reins or your other aids, because your horse is going to become attuned to that sitting back and that relaxing. So start practicing that. Sit back and exhale when you want a downward transition, and see if your horse doesn't start responding. So Ada, before you strike off, I want you to sit up and look ahead of you. I know we all want to pick up the correct lead, but what you're doing right now is you're looking around at that shoulder, and it's obvious. Everything we do, we don't want it seen. We want to make it look like you thought it and the horse did it. So sit up straight and tall, outside leg, inside rein. Kick, good girl, much better transition. And let your hands be following hands. Don't, whoopsie, sit up. Okay, he stumbled and he didn't like that. So ask him right away, just like it never happened. Ask for canter again. Good girl. And push him to the rail with your inside leg. If he comes off the rail in the corners, push him back. Don't lose the bend in your knee and the bend in your ankle. If you lose that bend, legs are stretching down too far because you're up in light seat, then you lose the bend, and then your angles absorb the horse's motion. If you lose those angles, you lose the shock absorber. And Ada, push to the rail. Even if you're in a hunter class, ride the whole rail. If your horse gets in the habit of making a little egg-shaped circuit around the ring, you lose advantage. If you're in a really big class and you need space, your horse may not be willing to move into the corner of the rail. You always want your horse to ride the big rail. Good. Lots of forward energy. Eyes up and head. Okay, good. Okay, and Ada, let's have more forward energy with him. Did I give you a crop when we started? I meant to. Okay.
They've been out here 56 minutes.
All right. Way more forward energy.
Not get any energy.
Okay. Okay. Did you guys see what she did? Woo! Drive by. Okay, turn him around. Make that rascal go back and do it again. Shorten your reins, sit back, and dig in with your seat bones. Good girl. Sit back, half halt, Halton. Every time he tries to canter, you bring him back. Eyes up. Good girl. Elbows in. Half halt and release. Good, Ada. Give him a big pat. Okay, he thought he could not do that unless he cantered. But he's obedient enough that he listened and she kept him balanced. She had to work really hard, but she kept him balanced to the trot, and he got there and he did a good ball. Have you got a crop?
In the trailer.
Okay, I'm going to get you a dressage whip in just a second.
Yeah.
And
He says it got hot.
I know, and we've actually been out here an hour, which is why I'm going to try to wrap it up pretty
He
quickly.
has a real thing against
Does he sweat or does he just get?
sweats tremendously.
Okay, that's fine, as long as he sweats.
He does sweat.
So let's go ahead and, Nelson, is there any way you can get a dressage whip for me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put a second one of these up inside the door to the left. A dressage whip would actually be better. If you go into my tack room, immediately to the left inside the door, there's some long whips. If you bring one of those, that'd be super. All right, Kara. So this horse is a very forward horse when it comes to jumping. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not good. Grids will be immensely helpful for her because they'll do exactly what Ada said. They're going to make her pay attention. You can go through it. So this time around, don't let her canter, half halt and release. 2, 3. All right, beautiful. Okay, Kara, the only thing I would ask you to try to work on is not to ratchet down. When you're trying to slow her down, shorten your reins back to your hip instead of don't push your hands forward because they're not going to make him go faster. It's leg, seat, and crop if you need it. Pop, pop, pop. Nice! He's so athletic. He said I could do this in my sleep lying on my mattress.
Where should my hands be?
Your hands were actually very good. If you guys can do this, if you think your horse is going to do something adverse, you can hold mane, but just following along is exactly what you want to do. When you jump, are y'all using a crest release or an automatic release? Good. Good. Neon said, this isn't fair. I'm longer than they are. All right. I'm going to put up one more. Oh, I'm sorry. Ada, go. Okay. All right. Let's do that again. And your saddle is tilted off to the right. So put some weight in your left stirrup and let me check your girth real quick. Okay? When you have a really round horse like that, periodically you have to take stock of where your saddle is. Nelson, could you give that to Elizabeth?
Yeah, and then we need to talk for a second so
Okay.
I can understand what.
All right. All right, let's get you back over here. More. All right. Take the foot out. All right, why don't you go and do that again?
Okay, so are we ready to move into?
Yeah, I think we should start the filming.
Yeah, because we're going to get too hot.
We're going to go ahead and start. The next time through, we'll be filming, and then we'll do the grid because it's going to get too hot and your horses have been out here long enough.
Okay, but do you want to say something to them like we're
Yes.
starting again?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you check what you want to check. Here's a glasses. Stop and check whatever you want to check on.
Okay, you guys ready? Okay, Kara, come back over here because we're going to discuss for just a minute.
All right, put your phone on so it won't be showing in the video.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we're going to do the brown line and film it, and then we're all going to work on the white line or whatever.
Yes.
So I can move the cameras.
Yeah. And what I'll do is, again, make it additive. So we'll just start with that one and this one and then add the others. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. All right, we're ready to begin the jumping phase. We have 2 grids set up. The first grid is set 9 feet apart. There are 4 obstacles, 4 rails, 9 feet apart, 18 inches high. And so, as we talked about briefly a few minutes ago, the purpose of the grid is at least twofold. One is to, perhaps most importantly, get your horse to start sitting back and jumping off of his rear end so that he's got the power where it needs to be and he's pushing from the right part of his body and can then make a nice bascule. So that repeated motion that a horse has to go through in a grid where he's in a short space to reestablish balance on his hind end and jump back out, that's the purpose of the grid. As Ada Catherine mentioned, the grid is also to make the horse pay attention and really help him learn where to put his feet when he's jumping. So we're going to start with 3 of the 4 rails up right now with Kara. Everybody can just continue to go one after the other. Just give each other space so that you're not jumping on top of a horse that maybe has trouble in front of you. So Kara, do you want to lead us off and everybody just follow? You want to try to trot in. If your horse is behind your leg, now that you have a dressage whip, maybe you can get him to move forward with more forward energy. If your horse tends to rush, this is also a very good exercise. Good, Kara. Okay, she wasn't expecting 3 rails. Let your horse do whatever they need to do to get through this the first time. That horse is extremely athletic. Let him go. Good. Wonderful. Okay, you guys did a great job. I'm going to put up rail number 4, and we're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to move on to the second grid. When it's this hot, we don't want to jump them to death. Okay, great. Very nice. Kara, see if you can keep more weight in your lower leg and in your stirrup and your heel when you're going over. You're doing a great job with your upper body and your hands of not interfering. Oh my, Star. We're going to do that again, Star. But you're losing your lower leg. You're not really hurting her, interfering, but you're not being effective with your lower leg. Good. Maintain that energy without letting... Good. Woo! Okay, that was pretty, Ada. And Ada, the same thing. When you're getting ready to make that turn, sit up and back and push down in your heel. Don't let your lower leg get away from you. Very nice, Joe. Okay. Elizabeth, I want you to do that one more time. Everybody else did a great job. And tap him right behind your leg if you don't get the response when you ask him to go forward. Okay, very nice. What did that feel like? Horrible, good.
Like sludge, like it did before. Like he was lifting himself this time.
You're right, he's not doing much more than just folding his legs up. He's really athletic. A lot of horses would not be able to manage to get through that with that little forward energy. So we would like for him to put in more effort.
Yes.
So that means maybe rallying almost to the point where he's cantering going into it. Okay, do you want to try to canter?
Sure.
Okay.
I could canter and then
As long as it's not,
transition to a trot.
that'd be fine, but don't. Okay, keep that packaged. Yes, everybody else can go into the corner and have a brief water break, and we're going to start on the other grid. Good, good energy, better, push. Much better. Okay, very good. Let's have a brief water break. Can you guys reach everything you need? Forward energy is critical. Good. Okay, so he had to take a good look at that. Yeah. All right, and Ada? Kara, have you done this one? Ada, you're going to do this one. So go up and around.
Come towards me, and then you're going to go jump the fence.
Lots of forward energy. Oh, sorry, Joe. Okay, good. Okay, and again, he was just dinking along. So make a decision well ahead of the fence. If you're already 4 strides, don't jump that one. Don't jump. Yeah, okay. Good. Make the decision when you're 4 or 5 or 6 strides out. If you haven't got the horse under you that you need, change it. And I recognize that they're really hot right now and we've been out here a bit. Okay, heads up, Kara, you got 2 riders coming. Good. Okay, good. He got to a long spot. And
I asked for it. I didn't think.
okay, good for you.
But it was a last-minute weak decision on my part.
Well,
It was sort of a panicky decision on my part.
well, sometimes, and you must know him so well that you knew he could do that.
Oh yeah.
It,
He's not the issue.
it may have been 6 of one, half dozen of another. He might have gotten in so tight that that would have also been uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tip.
Okay. And Kara, don't slink down and drop her. Sit up and help support her, and her forward energy is what you need. She actually backed off of that fence a little bit. All right. So Ada, you're going to do it one more time. Lots of forward energy. Go. All right, and Ada, when you come off that fence, don't lean over. Okay? In fact, your saddle's tilting to the left, to the right again. So let's come into the center and let me get your saddle squared away. Okay, really think about what you're doing that influence the horse. Whenever you move your body and duck, you're actually making your horse's job harder and putting him off balance. All right, this time, this is going to be the last thing we do today. Yeah, I'm going to put it back up. All right, I think every one of your horses can do that.
Absolutely.
Joe, how do you feel? Do you?
I think I could.
Okay. And if you wanted to go behind somebody, you could. Not too close, but if he.
Go behind him. Tell him to go behind him.
Gotta separate the Siamese twins.
Not a problem.
And Kara, your bootlace.
Comes undone.
Well, but it doesn't have to. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put that fence back up to 2.9. We're going to go through the grid one more time. You guys choose which fence you want, but make sure you make that choice ahead of time. Don't surprise your horse at the last minute. He's going to be surprised enough. What you're going to do, Kara, you're going to do the grid and then choose one of those. Okay, but also that was maybe a little bit of an unfair approach because I could see her right here starting to back off. So that's when your horse is here and she's already starting to shorten her stride up and think about, yeah, how do I not do that? Or how do I save myself? That's when you have to do something different, okay? And the something different is to sit back and rebalance her and push forward and lengthen that stride, okay? And instead, the two of you kind of went backwards all the way to the fence, almost, okay? So, brain fart. Sorry, I shouldn't say that on film, but let's do that differently when you come off the grid, okay?
You want me coming off this
You're going to come through this grid and you're going to go that way or this way. You decide. Everybody, it's your option. All right, let's go.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah, whoever. Oh, more forward energy. Stop for just a second. When he picks up canter, right now he's got a nice canter. When he picks up canter, he has this habit, or at least what I've observed today, is that he arches his neck and hollows his neck and has his head up and he's on his forehand for sure, but he's just kind of prancing along. Think about a better canter transition. Instead of just settling for what he's given you, use bend and flex. You know, you can exaggerate your inside bend a little bit. You can leg yield him. You can do a lot of things, but change that canter transition. And also think about your hands, because if your hands are up propped, you know, maybe think about them low and wide. Find something else that works for the canter transition because he's not giving you a good quality transition. Better, but right there, push forward. When he's up doing the rocking horse, push him forward. 2, 3. That's okay. Come back and do it again. What you did was
let
fair.
my rein slide.
You know what?
I didn't have my eye where it needed to be.
You're right, but what you did was fair to your horse, because if you hadn't let him fly, you might have hit him. So I'm okay with that. This time, okay, not so good. He is so athletic. He's so athletic that he could do that without falling apart or hurting himself. But let's don't do that again. So what will you do differently?
Can you tell me?
Yes, I would already be moving to the left side of that jump to get there.
Okay, wait. Move.
I would be in the air.
Using my right leg to push over.
I would be in the, first of all, I probably would come at a slight angle here.
All right.
Okay? If you're headed that way or that way and you're a stride in, it's going to be really hard for him to do that. So I would maybe come through here at an angle and make sure that you've got enough communication through your reins and your legs that he knows he needs to go there. Okay? And if you need to, open that left rein.
Okay. Wow.
All right, someone.
It was really not pretty, but you know what? Yes, do it right away so that he doesn't keep the lasting memory and seared on his brain. Yes, he's done when he gets it. And if you don't feel the forward energy, get it. 1, 2, go! Up. Okay. Circle around and jump it real quick. And pop, pop with the crop. Crop, pop, pop. Oh, let's take it down then. Didn't you jump it already with the rail up? What? Didn't you jump it with the rail up already? Yeah. Okay. Pop, pop, go, go. Okay, this is where lack of forward energy is going to fail you, because even if he's athletic enough that he can, you know, walk backwards up to it and then get himself over, someday that's going to fail you. So,
put it back up and let me go
yes,
right now.
yeah. Do you want to follow someone?
No.
Okay. Forward energy, pop, pop, and go. Pop, better. Okay, he was much, much better. He still did not give you the energy he needed to, but I'm okay with that. He's done.
He's done for today, or you want me to do the whole thing together?
I'd really like for you to do the whole thing together, but not at the detriment of what you just got.
Well, don't you think that he can do it?
I do.
Well, let's give it a shot.
All right, good for you. Forward energy. Outside leg to push him forward. He was sort of falling into the turn. Good. Good girl. Okay, I didn't love that, but I loved it better than the stopping and the falling through the fence. That was good for him.
I think we should end on that.
Yes.
I think it can be a building block.
And big praise, not just, yeah. Oh, make yourself, embarrass yourself when he does something like that.
Yeah, give it a good boy.
Okay, all right. Whoever's next, let's get some forward energy going on. It's really hot. Okay, you guys also, we have to stop and thank our horses because these guys are all over 18. How old is she? Okay, big forward energy and whichever jump you want. He said, no, that was too much of a surprise.
Yeah.
Do you want it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just, wow, that comes up quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I don't even know.
But again, this is why it's so critically important to have forward energy and to have it packaged in a way that the horse can change what he's doing when you ask him to. All right. Yeah, and Elizabeth, you could go stand under the shade and take your reins over his head, please. Thanks.
So, where should I be thinking about doing?
Okay, just as I told Elizabeth, you can actually move to the left or angle. When you land off of this fence, you can be angled to the middle of that jump, okay?
To the middle of which jump?
To the middle of the red jump. In other words, you can come across here at an angle. You can even come slightly. Most of the time we say, make your horse jump in the middle of the jump. You don't want him drifting. In this case, you are judiciously using the last grid fence to position him for that follow-up fence. Okay. Why don't you let him rest for a minute, but if you think you want to do it one more time after he rests, you could do that.
Does he look tired?
We all are tired.
Yeah, I just want to leave that up to you, though, because you know it. All right, Ada, you got to do that? All right,
Sarah, I want you to do it again, too. And Ada, your saddle is drifting off again.
Again?
Yeah, put your weight in your other stirrup.
I'm going to do the 2-6.
Okay, I think that's a good plan. Okay, all right, your stirrups are even. All right, Kara, are you doing it or is Ada? You guys talk amongst yourselves. Who's going? Ada's going. You can go right behind her if you want. Just give her room. Big forward energy. Big forward energy. Kick, kick. Good girl. Okay. All right. And move him over here. Okay, very good. Give him lots of praise. He did the best his short little self could do. Very nice, Ada. Okay, Ada, summer's coming. Just stop where you are and she'll go around you. Shorten your reins a little bit. Now you're grid first, right? Okay. Yeah, shorten your reins. Because if they're too long, you don't have anywhere to go. Okay.
I'll come.
All right. Kara, when she canters over the jump, I want you to lift your seat but not stand straight up because you're getting too much air between you and the saddle. Okay, so move just a little bit with your body. Big energy. Very nice, Joe. Give him big praise. Okay, he's done. All right, Kara. You coming?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to keep your reins short. You can move here, but if they're too long, you can't go but so far back. Well, that was much better. I say we give her a break too.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, so when you hop off, after you walk her for a minute, you're going to hop off, run your stirrups up, loosen your girth, reins over her head, and take her out and let her hang out under the shade. And then we'll debrief in a few minutes. Okay, so that concludes our lesson today. We didn't jump a 3-foot 3-6 course. We really didn't even do 2-6, but we did a lot of work on some foundational level tasks and skills that the horses needed. Each of these horses was really trying hard in the end. Star bumped up and gave a lot more effort after Elizabeth got the dressage whip. And given their ages and the heat today, I think that they did an excellent job and they've got some things that they can go back and work on. Thank you.